Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Def Leppard and Joe Elliott's voice. Definitely some changes throughout the years and some good things and bad things, but I'm mostly going to be focusing on the good times and kind of how he was doing what he was doing, and maybe how you could kind of get towards that sound and things of that nature. So if you want to learn more about that, join me. Everybody, shut up! I'm going to sing stuff. Let's do this.
And I tried so hard to heal this wound, this pain I feel, but I felt you drifting.
Okay, so I've pulled up a couple vocal-only tracks, which I've never really done with Def Leppard. I grew up listening to a lot of their music. You might have heard me say in a recent video that when I was a kid, I don't remember what grade it probably was, probably like fifth or sixth grade, going on the bus, I had a tape player. Remember tapes? And I would just listen to that tape over and over again because I didn't have many tapes. So it was just fucking listening to that, rewind, listen back, and this shitty long bus ride I had. So just pumping this Def Leppard music into my head. Some of the things I'm going to say here, I always got to preface this, are going to sound disparaging or sound like I'm making fun of the dude's voice. Obviously, we get into the rock realm of stuff. When you really break down how some people sing or how some of this stuff is done, some of the stuff's funny. Like some of the noises are funny. And, even if we were talking about badass people like Axl Rose and stuff, making those noises or getting to those places or really breaking it down without the music and stuff, it can get kind of funny. So anyway, I pulled up Photograph and I pulled up Animal. We're going to start with Animal. One of the good things about if you're trying to aspire to learn how to do these things with Def Leppard is that you get a big jump between his kind of regular voice and then this mixed high kind of nasal voice. And a lot of the songs are like that. There isn't quite as much middle ground as there is, yeah, ow, this big jump between. And the good thing about that, without saying too much here, is that when you're learning mixed voice or when you're learning how to do stuff like this, you're really in a vulnerable place because that shit up there is by itself is very cartoony and kind of funny and silly. And it can be very hard to be like, is that what it's supposed to sound like? A lot of people, including myself, when learning mixed voice, it didn't work out as well or didn't take hold as much because it didn't seem like that's what it was supposed to be. I was thinking more Chris Cornell. I was thinking more like heavy. I was thinking more awesome. And it's not. You're just using a different part of your voice. It's more bratty, bitchy, and nasal, etc. And then learning how to bring that into the sound of your voice, make it singy, etc. But when you break down people like I'm going to talk about today, you can really hear that quality, and then you can kind of start to be gentle on yourself and be like, oh yeah, like that's okay. It's okay to jump back and forth between these two kind of characters or these two things. And like I said, you're still going to learn how to bring them back together and make them more one voice. Anyway, let's talk about his chest voice here. I'm not the hugest fan. I don't know too much of their discography, but holy shit, did they sell a lot of records. This is, like I said, this is Animal. So we're going to listen to some of this first. I'm going to try to find the start here. Get past some of these weird.
Wide over stony ground, such a lust for life. The circus comes to town.
So right here in this song in particular, I think he did this quite a number of times. He must have wanted it to sound more intimate, more sexy, more, like, man, been out here a long time and I just need your love. So like I said, some of the lyrics and all that stuff, it does get a little bit funny to me. But one of the funny things I like to pinpoint right out of the gate in terms of trying to sound like Joe Elliott is that he loved the Y vowel, not the vowel, the Y sound, and how it opens itself up and how it processes itself through the jaw. So like I said, I'm going to start out goofy here, but when I say things like, yeah, ooh, me, my, and I kind of do this thing. Yeah, that's getting into that Y sound. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when you think about red light, yellow light, green light, go. Yeah, you'll hear that a lot in his voice. Whether he got that from somebody, whether it was his own thing, it was rather unique, and it's kind of a cool thing. And you'll hear that in his voice here. We should hear this probably the end of a couple of these phrases. Listen for that. Yeah.
We are the hungry ones on a lightning raid.
So we kind of get it right there. Raid.
Just like a river runs, like a finding flame.
You hear him kind of keep dropping in that flame. Can't remember what he says. I bleed for you. Yo, yeah, He loved to do that. And like I said, I wanted to pinpoint that first. Now, in terms of trying to establish a sound like this, we hear vocal fry coming through, and we kind of hear a little bit of a distortional space. Almost to me, as a professional vocal coach, teacher, singer, kind of sounded like he was actually a little bit tired, but then kind of using that for effect. But one of the more important things about trying to establish a sound like this or learning how to do this stuff is that he had nasal compression on in-chest voice. So if I was to go, we're the hungry ones on a lightning raid, that'd be pretty much coming straight out of the face in a very normal, yeah, over stormy ground. It's just pretty much regular speaking voice kind of quality in terms of placement and everything. But as I start to compress nasal and become nasal, like that, I start to compress and hold my voice back a little bit, mostly from processing it up here. So even by becoming nasal, we're in a sense starting to compress the voice or make it smaller in a sense. Then again, we don't want the larynx rising and everything going like this. That's not the kind of compression we're talking about. But if I go straight open like that, but if I point more towards the back where my soft palate is, a little tilt of the head, and I'm pushing back. And again, you can hear that the sound of my voice is not allowed to be as much open, falling out of the face, as now it's closing itself off a little bit. Again, I don't want to get into too many of these details because the video will be too damn long. But just by becoming nasal, I'm starting to guide my voice backwards and be in this different place. Now I can start to compress more with those muscles. And you can probably hear how I'm getting a little bit more of that sound. So let's listen to this one more time. I don't remember what. Here we go. Sorry.
Ride over stony ground.
Wild night over stormy ground. You hear how I'm kind of going into that space. Over stormy ground. It's just allowed to be more what it is. Over stormy ground. Can let me be a little bit more. Yeah. Out here in the desert, man. So I can have a little bit more of that. Now, there's countless singers that are using this to varying degrees. If we think about Axl Rose, he's going full fucking ham on that all the time. When I look into your eyes, I can see a love restrain. He's always got some of this nasal compression on there. The good thing about this and why I'm bringing it up is because if we are adding nasal compression, then when we go higher, we're only moving further into that space. Having a big difference between over stormy ground and then going, I got to feel it in my blood. Having that big jump and difference between quality of voice can be very odd to the listener, but very odd to you as even the listener of your own voice, because you're going to be judging yourself between having a nice open kind of more round natural sound and then having that. If I add nasal compression over stormy ground and then I go higher up into that space, it still sounds more like my voice because I was already in that space. Makes sense? Pretty logical. Over storm. Oh, I bleed for you. Oh, so I kind of have still that quality. Now we hear him kind of jump up close to his bridge and maybe a little bit over for this next part. We'll try to skip ahead here.
To town on a lightning raid. Just like a river runs.
So he's jumping up there to probably over his bridge, over my bridge. River runs like a 5 minutes flame. Oh, I bleed for you. I can't remember the lyrics. I'm sorry.
Like a flying train. Oh, I bet for you.
So now we get to the chorus. And again, really listen to that extra, more type of head voice quality, more of a compressed head voice quality, but it's mixed. So it's not, I got to feel it. It's not Mickey Mouse on fire. It's, I got it. It's holding back breath and it's mixing.
I got to feel it in my blood.
You're also hearing a vocal double and probably maybe a little bit of the harmonies in there, but I think this might just be a single vocal. You know, yeah, I'm on YouTube, you can never tell. But you're at least hearing a vocal double, so the same thing sang twice combined together.
I need your touch, don't need your love.
Yeah, I hear the harmony. Don't need your love. Whoa. But anyway, again, you can hear that transition and that jump there. Sorry if that's loud. I'll turn it down. So we're up there at a B4. Most males, their bridges is not going to go that high. So we're more in a head voice coordination. Again, we're processing this idea between these two spaces that we have. Ain't got no other spaces. So we have, I gotta feel, we're moving between those, and we're trying to learn how to transition and not just close off and make it just head voice or chest voice. And I'm absolutely not thinking about jumping to head voice and jumping back to chest. That's not how this stuff works. Mixed voice always feels like you're processing it through kind of like chest, so that you're connected in a way that you never have to try to navigate. That's too hard to navigate. And it doesn't sound good trying to go, I got to feel it. Later in his career, he got into places where I think he has to do that more because he lost some of this middle ground. And we don't need to get into his vocal health and all that kind of stuff, but they're out there performing, doing great. That's awesome. Anyway, my chest ends, my speaking voice ends at F sharp 4. I've talked about that plenty of times. Whether you want to classify me as this voice or that voice, I don't care. Almost every male student I've had, about 80 to 90% of the students I've had over 13 years have a bridge at F sharp 4. So this would be more in a head voice coordination. So I can already get there by pointing that voice, making a triangular type shape in here. I got to feel it in my blood. Whoa! I need your touch. Don't need your love. Whoa! Or whatever. Again, I can't remember if I'm singing the lyrics right. But again, we get that big jump from yeah, oh, yeah, oh. So now let's jump to a different song really quick. And the rest of that song's pretty simple. But now this one is more middle ground. So let's check this out.
I'm out of love.
Can you hear that timing? I did not have that queued up, and I just nailed it. Here we go.
I'm out of love, out of love. Got a photograph, picture of passion killer.
There we hear a great mix between the registers, but we hear that he's in chest. I'm out of luck, out of love. Did you hear the Y thing again? Yeah, love. Nobody does that. Nobody says that. Nobody would say, man, I'm in love. But it was great, man. Like I said, it's totally his thing. But then we hear this mix between, got a photograph, picture of passion killer, passion killer. Oh, that nice grab between. Again, if you want to practice these things, sirens are one of my go-tos. Taking that nasal quality and starting to learn how to shed weight and not just stay down here like this. We can drop the head. Some students are having a good time dropping the entire body like that, and really just reminding themselves to move further up into the head. But anyway, nasality is the great way to go with a lot of this stuff.
You're too much.
It's still a little bit there. Too much. Yeah.
You're the only one I want to touch.
I should say, for lesson's sake, that having any processed stuff through the jaw is fine when you're in chest register, but the higher you go towards your bridge or over, the jaw it disappears. We can't have the jaw interacting with the sound. So if you go over your bridge, I got to feel it in my blood, or whatever, this becomes more like a ventriloquist dummy mouth where we open to accommodate for pressure, but we can't enunciate very much. everything's staying more forced open, and we're learning how to stay in a pocket and stay open, but the enunciation happens lightly in the front here, but we can't enunciate through the jaw. So if I said, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, like that, each time it goes down through my jaw, and it starts kind of wearing me out, and it's not a good feeling. It starts to interact with the vocal cords negatively. So anyway, we had a verse right there, kind of covering some different ground that was covering a mixed voice and up into head voice, etc. But not the easiest to sing. Not as much of that difference between like chest voice, mixed voice.
I see your face every time I dream, on every page, every magazine.
So now, if I was becoming really crazy about trying to break this apart and how he lost his voice, right now his vocal cords are pretty open. So he's able to get a lot of the ease and stuff like that. But if you go pushing extra air over the vocal cords, you're going to be fucked. It's just not good for the voice. That might have been, him touring and God knows what all they were doing. Probably cocaine off hookers' butt cheeks or whatever. Whatever you get into in the 80s when you're one of the biggest rock bands on the planet. But I can hear a lot of escaping air through here, but once again, it's a vocal double, so it just sounds cool. It sounds great. Again, we have a lot of nasality, quality, mixed voice, but I can actually hear, I can hear a loss of airflow. Every time I dream. I can't do it right here on the spot, and it's not good for my voice anyway. Hey, yo, see your face every time I dream. And it's just kind of making me distort when I do it. But we would want more of a clean, I see your face every time I dream, on every page, every magazine. And I haven't warmed up yet today. But yeah, there you can hear I'm connected. There you can hear I'm using nasality and such. Doesn't sound the sexiest right now, but in his voice, I can just hear a little bit of openness. Either way, again, I get that nice jump between, and his voice does sound a lot different between the I'm out of luck. Oh, that kind of jump.
On every page, every magazine. So
Did you hear it right there? Zine! That's just a little bit open. Every page, every magazine. Zane. If I modify there, I can stay more connected. Zane instead of zine. Zine is falling forward. Zane is nice and connected and pushed back.
wild and free, so far from me, you're all out.
Again, you heard it right there. I don't mean to keep harping on this, but it's interesting to listen to. Me. What he dropped into me.
You're all I want. My fantasy. Yeah.
He's getting a little bit of distortion in there. It sounds like maybe from the false chords. Fantasy, yeah. Oh. Anyway, distortion is fun. It happens from compression and placement of where your voice is. But let's keep going.
Oh, look what you done to this rock and roll clown.
Now I'm hearing more vocal distortion from his vocal cords. But anyway, still sounds great. Again, these things are really intensely, I've studied them for so long that, I know I'm hearing things that other people can't hear. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? But for the most part, we're still just paying attention to mix and kind of staying up in this range again.
Oh, look what you've done.
Done. I gotta have you. And that's later. So right there, still in more of a head voice coordination and allowing yourself to be in that cartoony place. I had to sing Led Zeppelin for these couple shows here recently, and it's great when you can go on stage and be badass and do these things confidently, but at the end of the day, you're kind of in a cartoony place in your voice. This is very cartoony. I see your face every time I dream, on every page, every magazine. It's very it's very odd to get used to, but that's what these people were doing. That's what AC/DC's doing. That's what some of these people were doing, with varying levels of compression, varying levels of distortion, because distortion makes everything sound cooler and more badass. But you take that distortion away, for example, Brian Johnson, AC/DC, I was cold in the middle of a railroad track with barely any distortion. Kind of sounds like somebody going, hey guys, let's hang out and have a good time. It's a very Very much more cartoony. I won't keep you much longer, but let's get into the more of the chorus here. I think we're in the chorus now.
Gotta have you photograph. I don't want your photograph. I don't need your photograph. All I've got is a photograph. But it's not enough.
It's not enough. Hear it again. I'm such a dick. Okay, so that was the chorus. We got to hear him kind of processing in a couple different places there, so let's break that down really quick.
I gotta have you photograph. I don't want your
Chest voice.
I don't want you.
So that's up to a G4. So he's still basically in chest, but there's still nasal. Then we have, I don't need you. Oh, and then we get over the bridge, and we hear a little bit more of that kind of mix between it, but being above the chest.
I don't need you.
Yes! Now I'm sitting a little bit more up here, personally. He might be a little bit closer to his bridge or whatever, but we do hear the shedding a little bit of that weight. I don't have this kind of thing down here. Yeah! You hear that difference?
All I've got is a
And then he's almost exclusively in a head voice coordination there.
all I've got is a photograph.
All I've got is a photograph. There it is. It's a B4. All I've got is a photograph, but it's not enough. Not enough. So I don't know if anybody's going to take anything away from this, or if you're getting anything from this. If you want to join me on Patreon, I'm always teaching more of how to do this stuff. Again, these videos can get very long when I'm trying to really break down, how to do this and the lesson and this and that. But I just wanted to talk today about Joe Elliott's voice. Definitely an influence on me in different ways. And dude, their harmonies and the mixes in this album and most of their albums, if you're a mix engineer and stuff like I am as well, they're just insane. They're terrific. And I know that they spent a amazing amount of money on this album, but they also made an amazing amount of money. If you're mixing something or you're creating a rock song or whatever, and you want to compare it, because you're mastering or something, throw in one of these tunes and just listen to the space and the harmonies and the guitars. Fucking amazing stuff. Did I say it was amazing? Because it's pretty amazing. I should probably say that it's amazing. Anyway, thank you for joining me here. I'm going to make more videos like this. I'm going to be reacting to things and teaching more about vocal stuff. There's always a lot of this going on. So I'll see you soon. Thanks.